Hello everyone, welcome again to another video. So in today's tutorial we'll be making this beautiful beaded bag. I will be walking you through step by step on how to achieve this so you can make one for yourself too. Look at how big the inside look like. This is the inside of it. The inside look very big that you can put a lot of stuff in it. And this is how the bag is looking like. So thank you for joining me again on this tutorial, and let's get into the video. So today I'll be using two different beads, 16mm and 10mm, okay? The purple is 10 and pearl is 16mm. Here is my cutter to cut any loose thread, and here's my line in 50 pounds. That's what I'm going to use. So we are going to start with 5 beads. I'm going to put all these 5 beads on the line. Like this. This is 5 beads. I string on the line, okay? I'm going to hold the last bead and I'm going to cross the other end of my line into it and pull down like this. So now on each side of my line, the left and the right, I'm going to be adding 2 beads on each side of my line. I add 2 beads to my right line and 2 onto my left line. Then I'll cross into the 5th one and pull down like this, okay? I put 2 beads on each line, then I'm going to cross into the 5th one and pull. That means we add 5 beads, all right? Cross, pull down like this. Now on each side again, the left and the right, I'm going to add 2, then cross into the 5th one and pull like how we did first. And this is how I put it. I'm going to cross into this one, okay? So crisscross into the 5th bead like this. Hold the ends and pull it down like this. Now again we are going to repeat the same process. 2 beads on each side of my line, the left and the right. And I'm going to cross into the 5th one and pull like this, okay? Now repeating the same thing, cross into the 5th bead and pull down. Crisscross like this, hold, pull down. So again, I'll be repeating the same process, okay? 2 beads on each side of my line, the left and the right, and cross into the 5th one and pull. Crisscross both ends, hold the ends together and pull down like this. Now we start with 5. And now we have 6 rings, 6 rings. So now I'm going to continue to make 2 more rings. And I'll continue with 2 more rings. And we will end in 5 beads, okay? And here, this is how it's looking like. So we continue to make 6 rings. Now we are going to end with 5. We start with 5. We are going to end here in 5 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now we start with 5. We are going to put 5 over here too. And this is how I pick my bead. I put 3 beads on the right side of my line like this and 1 on the left side. And I'm going to hold the right one, cross with the left line and pull like this. Let me flip it over to my side and let's continue. Now on my left line, I'm going to start a new row. I add 5 beads to my line. I cross with my right line and pull down like this. I'm going to pull my line into 2 beads. So pull my line into 2 beads like this. And on my left line, I add 3 beads to my left line. Cross and pull down. I'm going to pull my right line into the next 2 beads, okay? Pull through the next 2 beads. And add 3 beads to the left line. Cross with the right line and pull. My right line again into the next 2 beads. I'm pulling through the next 2 beads. On my left line, I add 3 beads to my left line. Hold the last one, cross with the right line and pull. This is how the weave is looking like. We are going to repeat the same thing. Going to pull line through 2 bead and add 3 bead to it. Okay, so we do the same. Now I'm about to complete this row. I'm pulling through the last 2 bead, and on my left line I add 3 bead to my left line. Okay, the same process, the same weave, the same technique. I'm going to hold the last one, cross with the right line and pull. And this is how it's looking like. So my right line into the last bead at the end, and on my right line I add 3 bead, on my left I add 1. I hold the last one of the right line, cross with the left line and pull like this. Okay, now we are going to start the 3rd row. And now my left line, I'm starting with 5 bead, cross and pull down. Now my right line, okay, my right line into the next 2 bead. I pull through the next 2 bead like this, and on my left line I add 3 bead to my left line. Into the next 2 bead, pull through the next 2 bead. On my left line I add 3 bead to my left line, hold the last one, cross and pull down into the next 2 bead. Okay, pull the line through 2 bead, then and add 3 bead to the left line. You cross and pull. So my left line, I add 3 bead to my left line, cross and pull down. We are going to continue into 2 bead and add 3 bead to our left line. Okay, you pull through 2 bead, continue and add 3 bead to the left line. You cross and pull, cross and pull down. We are going to repeat the same thing to the end. Now I'm about to complete this row. I'm going to pull through the last 2 bead, pull through the last 2 bead, and on my left line I add 3 bead to my left line, cross with the right line and pull. Now into the last bead at the end, I add 3 bead to my right line and 1 to my left line like this. I'm going to hold the last one, cross with my left line and pull. And this is how it's looking like. We got 3 rows down, and this is the shape it's taking. Okay, yours has to take the same shape. Now on my left line I'm going to start with 4 bead. Okay, cross with the right line and pull my right line into the next 2 bead. I'm pulling my line through the next 2 bead, and I add 3 bead to my left line, cross with the right line and pull into the next 2 bead. I add 3 bead to my left line, I cross with the right line and pull into the next 2 bead. The same, we are going to repeat this process on this row too. So I add 3 bead to my left line, I cross and pull down. So repeat the same to the end. And now I'm about to enter the last bead, into the last bead over here. On my right line, okay, I add 3 bead to my right line like this. I cross with my left line and pull. And now we complete this row too. So now let's continue with the next row. My line into the next bead. Alright, I'm pulling through 1 bead over here into the next bead. And on my left line, I add 4 bead to start with. But because my line is short, I'm going to tie over here before I continue with a new line. Okay, and this is how the shape is looking like. Very beautiful. I'm going to hold these ends and weave it into a couple of beads before I trim it off. And this is what I'm doing over here. Okay, just making sure my line is secure before I trim it off. So now we stop in this bead, and I'm going to just pull my line right into that bead and continue. Now into the next 2 bead. Pull through the next 2 bead and add 3 bead to the left line. Cross with the right line and pull. Now we just have to continue to the end, okay? I'm going to pull through the next 2 bead like this. The second bead, I add 3 bead to my left line. I cross with my right line and pull. Into the next 2 bead again, we are going to continue to the end. All right, now I'm about to enter the next 2 bead, which is the last 2 bead over here. Pull through the last 2 bead. The same line I pull through the bead, okay, my right line, I'll be adding my right line, I'll be adding 3 bead to my right line. All right, I'm going to cross with my left line and pull. And this is how the shape is looking like. Now I'm going to pull again my right line into the next bead. Pull through the next bead, the right next bead, and start with 4 bead. Okay, I add 4 bead to my left line. Cross, pull down into the next 2 bead. Into the next 2 bead. Add 3 bead to the left line. Cross and pull into the next 2 bead. I add 3 bead to my left line. I cross with the right line and pull down. We are going to continue, repeat the same process to the end, like this. Now I'm about to enter the last 2 bead. Continue into the last 2 bead. And on the right line, I add 3 bead to the right line. Cross with the left line and pull. Like this. And now I'm going to pull into the next bead. Let me flip it over to my side so it'll be easy for me. Alright, this is how it's looking like. My right line into the next bead. Pull through the next bead and add 3 bead to the left line. Okay, in the corner we pull 5 bead, so we add only 3. So I'm pulling my right line into the next 2 bead. Pull through the next 2 bead and add 3 bead to the left line, cross and pull into the next 2 bead. Add 3 bead to the left line, cross and pull down. I'm going to pull through the next 2 bead. Add 3 bead to the left line, cross and pull. I'm going to pull my right line into the next 2 bead. Add 3 bead to the left line, cross and pull. 3 bead, cross and pull into the next 2. Go through the next 2 bead. Add 3 bead to the left line, cross with the right line and pull. Now into the last 2 bead. Okay, go to the last 2 bead, and because we start with 5, we are going to end with 5 bead. I'm adding only 2 bead over here to complete. Okay, I add only 2 bead to my left line to complete this row. I'm going to tie over here. Tie the base. This is the base we have to build on. This is the base of the bag. All right, very pretty, very beautiful shape, and this is what we are going to use to build our bag on it. Now we have a shape, so we are going to go around this shape and bead our bag. So now I'm going to split my line into 2 bead. Okay, I'm pulling my left into this bead, my left line, and the right line I pull through the other bead. Like this. This is how my line is looking like. I'm starting with 4 bead. 2 pearls, and in between I put the purple bead. Okay, now I'm going to pull my line again into 2 bead. Go through 2 bead, and on my left line I put 2 purple and 1 pearl bead. Cross into the pearl and pull down. My right line again into the next 2 bead. Pull through the next 2 bead, and on my left line I'll be adding 2 purple and 1 pearl. Cross into the pearl and pull into the next 2 bead. I pull through the next 2 bead, and on my left line I'm going to add 2 purple bead and 1 pearl bead, like this. Now I'm going to cross my right line into the pearl and pull. My right line again into the next 2 bead. Okay, into the next 2 bead. I'm just going round, pulling the line, the right line into the next 2 bead. All right, pull through 2 bead, and on my left I add 2 purple, 1 pearl. Cross into the pearl and pull into the next 2 bead. Go through the next 2 bead, and I add 2 purple and 1 pearl. I cross into the pearl and pull. And this is how the weave is looking like so far with the pearl that we are putting on the side, and it looks pretty already. So we are going to continue round with the same weave, repeat to the end. Now I'm about to complete. I'm going through the last 2 bead. Okay, I'm going to pull my line through the next 2 bead. All right, and I'm going to go into the pearl. That way I'm going to step up my line and continue a new row. This is how my line is looking. It's in the 4 bead. Okay, so now I need only 2 beads to complete this row. I add 2 bead to my left line. I hold the right line. Okay, I need only 2 bead with the right line and pull. And now we step up. We are going to start a new row. My right line into the next bead. I'm going to pull my right line into the next bead. So my line will be in 2 bead. Okay, 1, 2. This is where my line is. My line is in 2 bead, and I'm starting again with 4 bead, 2 pearls, and in between I put the purple bead like this. Cross in the pearl and pull. We start the second row, and now I'm going to go through the next 2 bead. Pull through the next 2, add 3 bead to the left line, cross and pull into the next 2 bead, to the right line into the next 2 bead. Okay, like this. We add 3 bead, 2 purple and 1 pearl, cross into the pearl and pull. This is how the weave is looking like, and we are going to continue round the shape until we complete the second row. So just continue with yours, and I will make mine off camera, and I'll come back and meet you over here. This is how the weave is looking like. Add 3 bead, okay, to my left line, cross and pull. And this is how it's looking like. Very beautiful. I'm going to complete the rest, and I'll meet you back here. This is looking pretty already. And now I'm back. I complete the second row, and now we are going to continue again. So I want to teach you how to step up again, okay, how you can step up and build on it. Now I'm going to pull my right line into the next 2 bead, through the next 2 bead, and on my left line I'll be adding 2 purple and 1 pearl. I cross into the pearl and pull. Now I'm going to pull my right line into the last 2 bead. Okay, pull through the last 2 bead, and again I'm going to pull through the pearl. Okay, this one, pull through the pearl, and I'm going to take 2 purple bead to complete this row. You need only 2 bead to complete the row. All right, like this. Cross and pull. Now we are going to build on it again. I'm going to hold my right line into the next bead. All right, into this bead. pull through the next bead, and now my line is in 2 bead, and I'm going to continue my 3rd row. And this is how I pick my bead, 2 pearl, and in between I pull the purple like this into the next 2 bead. Repeat the same process round until you complete. Okay, now I pick up 2 purple and 1 pearl, cross into the pearl and pull. So this is what I'll be repeating round the shape until I complete. Okay, I'm going to build like 5 rows, and this is how it's looking like. Very pretty already, very beautiful. I'm going to come back, continue to build on it, and come back. This is that I'm done with the 3rd round, the 3rd layer of it. And now I ran out of 16mm bead, so I'm going to continue with 12mm. So I'm going to continue with the 12mm on the top. Don't worry about changing bead at the top. I ran out of bead, that is why I'm using the 12mm. Okay, now I'm just going to continue doing the same process that we did for the 1st and the 3rd row until I complete the 5th row. All right, now I cross into the pearl and pull. I'm going to continue with the same technique until I complete this round and make another round on top of it. All right, I'm going to build 5. Okay, 5 rows. If 5 rows is not tall enough for you, you can go round and make the number of rows you want to make to your own desired length. Okay, to make it how tall you want it. So if this 5 rows is not enough, it's not tall for you, you can build more rounds on it. All right, I'm going to complete and come back over here, and this is how it's looking like. Very, very beautiful. What we have to do is to put handle on it. So I'm going to hook this on the side, and we can make our handle. All right, I'm going to show you how we can hook the metal ring on it. Now this is my line. I'm going to pull through these 2 bead. These 2 bead over here, that's what I'm going to, we're going to use these 2 on the side. I'm going to pull through these 2 bead. All right, so now on each side of my line, okay, I'm in 2 bead. All right, my line is in 2 bead. I put one bead on each side of my line. I'm going to cross both ends of my line into the 3rd one and pull like this. Now on each side of my line again, I drop one bead on it. I take another bead, cross both ends of my line into it and pull. I'm going to pick up 2 bead again and put on each side of my line like this. Okay, and now I'm going to wrap my weave around the metal ring. Okay, like this. Inside is my ring. I'm going to pull through my line through these 2 bead on the top. Okay, we start, this is how it's looking like. This is the 2 bead. Now we are going to go to the same 2 bead on the top, the same line. Use the same line. I'm going to cross both ends of my line into it like this and pull. So now I'm going to walk around again. This is how it's looking like. I'm going to weave around this circle. All right, weave round this one too. I'm going to enter this one and crisscross into the middle one. This one, okay, I crisscross into it like this. I'm just trying to reinforce my line in the bead. So I'm going to weave in this 4 bead. All right, weave through the bead and now have both ends together and tie. So my ends are together. Okay, I just weave through the bead. I have both ends together and a tie. Tie over here, nice and neat in between the bead like this. And I'll weave the rest of the line again into the bead before I trim it off. And this is how it's looking like. We are going to repeat the same thing on this side too. All right, I'm going to pull my line into these 2 beads. And now we're going to attach the ring to it too. So I'm going to pull my line through these 2 beads. On each side of my line, I'm going to add one bead on each line, like this. I take the third one, cross, and pull. I add one bead on each side of my line, cross both ends into the third one, and pull. Again, I'm going to pull one bead on each line. One on the right, one on the left, like this. And I'm going to wrap it around my ring like this and cross into the 2 bead on the top. Alright, cross, pull the line through the 2 bead. So over here I have both lines together. I'm going to tie first before I weave it back into the bead. Alright, I'm going to tie here first, because I have both ends together like this. And now I'm going to hold it and weave it back into the bead like we did for the first one. Make sure we reinforce the line so our line cannot slip out, like this. Okay, weave deep into the bead. Make sure it's well secured before you trim it off, like this. And this is how it's looking like. Okay, we put 2 rings on it already, and we have to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 on this side. It's looking pretty already. And now let me show you, before I do the second part, let me show you how the handle, I'm going to make the handle. All right, so now I'm going to cut my line depending on the length that you want. I'm going to add 5 beads to my line. I add 5 beads to my line like this. And I'm going to wrap it around my ring and tie. Tie this 5 beads around the ring. Okay. Tie nice and neat. Pull and tie. You pull and pull nice. Pull hard. So now I'm going to put my both ends of the line together like this, and I'm going to start stringing. I put 1 pearl first. Okay, I'm going to use my 16mm, and now I'm going to string 3 pearls in between. Okay, then I put pearl again, and I put 1, 2, 3, and add pearl. Okay, like this. This is how it's looking like. And now I make it long, but it depends on how long you want it to be. All right, then you make it long for yourself. So again, I'm going to add 5 beads to my line like this, and I'm going to wrap it around my ring and tie. Okay, wrap it around and tie. This line is a little short, but cut yours long. Okay, so you can weave it back into the bead. All right, tie like this, and this is how the handle is looking like. Very beautiful, very simple. Now the end of the line, weave it back into the bead and tie. Make sure it's well secured before you trim it off. Okay, hold it and weave it around, okay, the shape, and reinforce it. And this is how it's looking like. Very simple handle, very beautiful. And this is how it's looking like. You can make it. It's easy. Everybody can make this. And now I'm going to continue to make the other side of the bag and make the handle on it. Okay, I'm just going to continue and complete this side. And now come back and meet you here. And this is how the bag is looking like. Very beautiful, very pretty. You can take it anywhere. This is how it's looking like. Thank you for watching. I thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, turn on your notifications for new videos that I'll be uploading, so you don't miss on any. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.